All right, guys. It's the time of weekend, and it's like, it's the best time of the week. And what is that, Lionel?
It is time for this week's episode of Off the Top Rope.
Oh yeah.
We might have some new people. So just to let you know, this is a podcast where we talk about AEW, we talk about Dynamite and Collision. We also hit you with a little bit of news before we actually get into the shows. So if you enjoy that, stick around. See if you enjoy it.
Yeah, man. There's so much to talk about this week, and there's people blowing themselves up, burning their own bridges. Others, joining places to get to other spots. There's just all kinds of stuff we got this week. We got, some new AEW guys winning titles in other areas, getting some gold. So,
Oof.
yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Oof. First thing we got to talk about, though, for sure, is Mother's Day, the day we're recording.
Nice.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone, to all the mothers out there. It's a great time. Now, we're getting to the real news. Our first piece is a big loss in the wrestling community. Literally today, the day that we're recording, it was found out that Sabu has passed away.
Oh man, yeah. I looked online and that was like one of the first things I saw, man. I was like, oh, that sucks.
I didn't believe it for like an hour. Because I think I saw like a random thing on Blue Sky saying that Sabu passed away. I was like, all right, bro, calm down. And then I kept on seeing it. Then I saw the official story. I was like, ooh. So he retired a few weeks ago and then passed. That's crazy.
Yeah, he had his last match. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Had his final match and retired. But man, like, I watched a ton of his matches, back in the day. Of course, there's the one match a lot of people talk about, and that was his, the King of the Death match between him and Cactus Jack.
Yeah, man.
That was good stuff. But like my personal favorite in ECW was him versus RVD, and I think there was one for the TV title, but there was one where it was just him and RVD. I think it was like whoever won got the number one contender or something like that. But it was like it ran past the time limit. It was like a 30-minute match that went past the time limit. Just kept going. Him and RVD just didn't stop. They just kept going. And yeah, that was like one of my all-time favorite. And also him and RVD versus Jinsei Shinzaki, or Hakushi for people that only watch WWF, and Hayabusa.
Man, what was that? That was a heat wave, right?
Yep, I think it was Heatwave '98.
Oh, man.
Hold on, let me make sure, because I know somebody's gonna be like, actually.
No, I think you were right, bro. I think you were right. Yeah, here it is. RVD and Sabu versus Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki, Heatwave '98.
Yep, that's like one of my all-time favorite matches.
I like a lot of Sabu's matches against Taz. Taz used to be one of my favorites back in the '90s. It was like Taz was like in my top 5 with like Goldberg, Chris Jericho. Like I had a like Rey Mysterio Jr. Like I had a really weird top 5 as a child.
My top 5 changed so much when I was a kid. Let's see. So my top 5, it was like Hayabusa was one of them, believe it or not. RVD, Booker T.
Oh yeah, Booker. That was round out my top 5 also, actually.
Booker T, The Rock, and who was it? A stupid weird wrestler. Like it'd be like somebody like Lash LaRue or something like that.
What a name pull!
It'd be like, yeah, that guy's just like some random ass guy, like be in my top 5.
But yeah, man, this is it's just a reminder. Do what you love. Sabu was literally wrestling up until he had a couple weeks. It's sad that he didn't get to live the rest of his life out. You know what I mean? But yeah. Fantastic life, fantastic wrestler. Rest in peace, Sabu. It happened today. It's crazy. It happened today.
Yeah, like that's somebody, if you look up and look at all the things he's done, like he literally broke his body for the business.
Really did.
And nothing but respect there.
Rest in paradise.
Yep.
We're gonna go on to a couple of title changes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a few of them.
Yeah,
we'll do a few really quick ones. The big ones that we talked about, or I guess not one title change, and 2 title gains. 2 inaugural champions were crowned. This weekend, funny enough.
Yeah, this weekend. This weekend's been busy, man.
It's been so busy. Best of Super Juniors, Resurgence happened. MLW had their show this week. So much happened. First one we'll talk about, I guess the easier one. I guess not easy. Mercedes Moné lost her first title in her reign of multiple championships. She lost the NJPW Strong Women's Championship in a 3-way at Resurgence to Azumi. Mina Shirakawa was also in the match. Mina Shirakawa was the one who actually got beat. Mercedes, if y'all didn't watch Resurgence, Mercedes had a meltdown. She lost her shit in the ring. But you have any thoughts on that one at all?
No, I think that was great. I think she was going to lose at some point.
Oh yeah, it was going to happen.
And this sets up something for when Mina gets, is finally fully in AEW, because I think it's going to be like the end of this month. That's when she's fully transitioning over, I think.
I can see her coming in at Double or Nothing. Yeah. Like officially.
So there's something like, ready to go as soon as she gets in.
Or you know what? She could also show up on Wednesday in that 4-way that we'll talk about later during our Dynamite or our Collision review.
Yeah, man. But yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, of course, Mercedes playing it up, and yeah, it's good stuff.
And we have 2 inaugural champions from the MLW show that happened yesterday. So our inaugural MLP Women's Canadian Champion, the quintessential diva, Giselle Shaw, and our inaugural MLP Canadian Heavyweight Champion, the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander.
Hell yeah!
If y'all haven't seen those titles, these are pretty as fuck. These are very pretty titles.
Yeah, they look pretty amazing.
They're Canadians, hell too. Like they got the Canadian flag on the side of them both. Like they look really good. Mm-hmm. But we have Scott D'Amore's kids taking the first 2 titles in MLW. Probably to the surprise of no one, actually.
No, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Like, Giselle Shaw, like, we used to... So, for anyone new, we did used to review TNA back before, back before the beginning of this year. We used to review TNA. And we said, like, every week in TNA, when Giselle Shaw was always improving and always doing, like, great. So, it's good to see her get a title.
She's gotten really good. Prophet, if you haven't watched that match, I suggest you watch that match. Actually, both. Watch the match where Giselle won, and watch the match where Josh got his title.
Yeah,
they're both very good. But yeah, we got New Champions Galore. We had there was a lot of good times this weekend.
Yep.
We also got to talk about the drama before we get.
Boy.
All right, Prophet. I'm gonna give it to you. Which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about Indy or Javon?
Oh, we're saving the Javon one for last.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I think that's the biggest of the two. We could talk about Indy Hartwell.
All right, so Indy did a interview very recently. Let me pull up really quick because I definitely did not put it away or anything like that. I didn't stash it away, even though we talked about that we were going to talk about it already. Nope, totally didn't do that. Indy Hartwell, she said that she feels like there is a path back to WWE someday. She did say someday. Also, she talked about not signing with TNA to go back to NXT. Let me read the quote before we get into our thoughts because I think this is very interesting.
Okay.
Her quote, this is her, and I quote, in an interview with Chris Van Velt, I never know how to say his last name, CVV. It's not my intention right now to sign with TNA so I can go back to NXT. I went to TNA because TNA is a company I grew up watching. I am genuinely a huge fan of TNA, and I feel like that's where I can thrive the most. Okay? I'm only 28. I do feel like there's a path back to WWE someday. I'm not closing the door on that. All my friends are still there, and there is a lot I didn't do. It's definitely something I can see happening. End quote. That is the end quote. It's a very weird quote, but Prophet, what are your thoughts?
It's very telling where her head's at. Right? Like,
yeah.
She's going anywhere to get enough exposure to where she could get brought back into WWE, and probably she's trying to get enough of a look to skip going to NXT again and just go straight to the main roster. That's what she's trying to do. But the quote was kind of weird. Kind of like, I didn't sign up to TNA to go back to NXT. And it almost felt like she called, like, in an off way, kind of called TNA like NXT. Like, kind of compared it to being the same. So I don't know how much, like, TNA will help. Of course it will. But I'm glad Tony Khan and AEW didn't sign her. Because that's where her head's at.
Yeah, she definitely wanted to go back. I remember when she got let go that this was, like, Indy was definitely someone that a lot of people were talking about bringing into AEW. Like, that was a thing. Because, like, whenever people get laid off in WWE, the first thing people do is like, oh, this person would be great in AEW. Oh, this person would be good here. This person would be good there. If your intention is to go back to WWE, despite the fact of whatever you said, TNA is definitely one of the best spots to get back in there, right? And also, she's not going to be able to skip a path to go back directly to the main roster. I don't think.
No, like, there's people that are way better than her that didn't go straight to the main roster. Like, for one, the former Knockouts champion Jordan Grace is wrestling on NXT.
Yep.
Shouldn't be on NXT at all.
No.
I'm just going to keep saying that. And especially since they had that match, I think it was this week or last week, between her and Julia. That was the most non-WWE match you'll ever watch. It was probably like the best women's match they've had.
Well, yeah, it's Julia and Jordan Grace. And they're not on the main roster. They can, in NXT, you can wrestle how you want. Right? Like, if you are an outsider coming into NXT, you can wrestle your style. Like, you don't have to really worry about that. It's when you go up to the main roster when things change.
Yeah, but that was like kind of like a Stardom-ish match. I'll just say that.
I'm gonna have to watch it. Like, people know I don't really watch WWE like that, but I'm gonna have to watch that match.
Yeah, it like, shit goes down a second, like, because Jordan Grace kind of dropped Julia on her head twice. After the first one, it was like Julia woke up and reverted back to Stardom.
Also, that was that fight or flight. She got dropped on her head. She's like, oh, I'm in Japan. You gotta die.
Yeah, she went full, like, Japanese style.
That's crazy. But yeah, I feel like Indy can say what she wants, and I feel like that was the right thing to say, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, if you are, I'm not saying everyone in TNA is trying to get into WWE. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you wanted a way to get into NXT and WWE, and if you weren't a WWE ID talent, or TNA is probably your best bet. Or you can be in CMLL when AEW goes there, because apparently WWE is watching that show very closely, apparently. So,
well, because, come on, let's be real here. AAA didn't have that many wrestlers.
No, they had like 13 people signed. So,
Yeah, it was sold on snake oil, man. Like, Conan did his best, like, snake oil salesman. Sold that shit company, and then, they had no, like, they had, like, old-ass luchadors, man. Half of them were, like, 58, 60. Come on. They hired the younger one, well, no, middle-aged ones, and the one young one.
Well, hey, like I said, Indy, all power to you. Good luck. You will find a path back, because, that's what they do. Like, you will find a path back. Your easiest path, though, it would have been to be on AEW TV, because that is the way to do it now at this point.
Just have one good match just have a match with Mercedes, and they'll bring you back immediately.
Yep. But she'll find her way back if that's what she wants. That they will do that. They brought back Braun Strowman, so if they bring back Braun, they will bring you back if you really want to go back.
They brought him back and laid him off again.
Yeah.
Braun didn't control his narrative that time, I guess.
That's the risk. It's a risk that you can really do about that. All right, we can get into our final news story before we start talking about how great AEW Dynamite and Collision was this week.
Mm-hmm.
We have to talk about probably the funniest story that we have this week. Javon Evans. Actually, I'll start the story from the beginning. Someone had asked Ricochet, or like Javon Evans was like on a picture for Ricochet, and someone tagged like, "Oh, what do you think, Ricochet?" And Ricochet said, "I squash him." Okay? So that's where we are. Right? I'm going to read what Javon said. Alright? This is Javon Evans. My bad. I just got done training at the Performance Center under Shawn Michaels. Something that you don't have or do. But I bet your brownhead ass would squash me if Tony Khan told you to. Much love, OG. Which, end quote. I mean, that's... If you were supposed to be squashed, of course your boss would tell you that. That's how wrestling works.
Yeah, that's how it works, buddy.
That's how it works. Ricochet responded, "Brother, I was learning from Shawn Michaels when you was like 12. Then wanted to become a multiple-time champion. Let me know when you win one, little boy. And yeah, if Tony asked me, I'd definitely beat your ass. I'm not saying the I can't do that. From my roots won't let me do that." So Javon Evans quote tweets back, "You learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multiple-time champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Talk about an upgrade, am I right?" Again, Javon Evans, NXT star.
Mm-hmm. Wrestling in the Performance Center.
Wrestling in the Performance Center. It sounds like Mr. Khan isn't giving you enough attention, so you had to come to a successful ass youngin. You're giving me the most views on my post, and I'm finally helping you get the most attention you've ever had in your career. All love. And those tweets from Javon Evans are now deleted because he had to. His tweets were all, he types in, everything is capitalized, like every word is capitalized. I don't like that. I've never liked that. And he's also low-key kind of delusional.
Yeah, very. Especially when his name was, what was it? He was jobbing to people on AEW Dark, by the way.
So he was in AEW. He was doing AEW things.
Yeah, he took that AEW money, when he was wrestling in AEW Dark. I forget, like, people were showing who he was jobbing to, and it was horrible. Yeah. Von Evans, yeah. You talk about somebody, wrestling. Actually, hold on. He started at Wembley, so 60,000 plus people.
Yeah.
Ricochet. That's where he started, and then every week after that, it was most of the arenas they went to was about like between 3,000 to 5,000 plus.
Yeah.
So you're compared to you in NXT wrestling inside the Performance Center in front of about like 100 to 200 people. Come on, dude. This ain't a good look. And the fact that when you guys were out here in Vegas, you couldn't sell out any of the arenas. I remember when Black and Gold was selling out all the time, but you guys couldn't sell shit, Javon Evans.
Yeah.
So,
I can't believe he took the bait that hard.
He took it hard, man.
He took it hard, like, man. Like, it's a little sad to see, honestly.
He oh my god. He didn't see. I guess he hasn't read Ricochet stuff because Ricochet has just been posting in character.
That's all he's been doing. Let me tell you, this happened on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
We will talk about on TV the other heinous thing that Ricochet did that day. But Ricochet started with an NXT talent and walked away with 3 legs. So
he's a menace.
Ricochet had a day on Thursday. Let me tell you.
He's a menace, man. Ricochet is a menace. This is like, look, all that time in WWE, I feel like, and I think he even feels it too now. Like all that time when Ricochet was in WWE was wasted time.
Well, I mean, he's already said that AEW has like reinvigorated his passion for wrestling, and let's not forget, like Ricochet he went to New Japan for a little bit. He wrestled in Wrestle Dynasty. He wrestled for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Zack Sabre Jr., by the way.
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing. Ricochet is constantly on TV, damn near in the elite at this point. Ricochet is doing a lot of things. So to get baited by him has to feel a little bad.
You gotta feel like a fucking idiot. Because he took that shit he took that bait man. It was just bad. Made him look like an idiot.
Yeah, and I get it. We all take the bait sometimes, right? It happens to the best of us. But man, he just could not stop.
No, but it was delusional takes too. That's what made it worse.
That's what made it worse. Like, bro, like you are not on the main roster. Like, you're not on Raw and SmackDown. You're not wrestling in front of 15,000 people every week. Well, you're not talking in front of 15,000 people every week with 5-minute matches.
Not talking at all because that motherfucker can't talk.
If his tweets say anything, yeah.
No, just seriously, he sucks at talking. He's terrible.
He can do his thing. Let him do his thing at this point. I guess whatever. But
Okay, well,
maybe I don't know. There was a joke out there, like, and I hate to bring this part up because it was definitely like a joke in like a private Discord. But Sean Ross Sapp was like, "Ooh, now they got to take classes." They obviously don't. Like that wasn't a thing. They just made him delete the tweets. But that was a whole other thing also, because I guess people took that quote from Sean in Discord and ran it as news and said like, "Oh, now all the NXT talent have to go to more classes, more social media classes," and that ended up being a whole other thing also.
oh god. He's like, no, you idiot.
Nah, we're just talking. I'm joking with my friends. Like, leave me alone.
It's news.
But yeah, I don't know. It goes to show you. There are two lessons from this. One, you don't need to be responding to everyone that responds to you. And two, don't be delusional.
Yeah, don't be delusional.
Don't be delusional. Yeah, man. You have anything else you want to say about that other than us laughing about it?
No, I'm just gonna laugh about it because yeah, delusional takes and just like, hey, I really don't hope I really hope he's not in the next line of people that get let go from the layoffs at NXT or WWE and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he totally just burnt his bridge.
I mean, he's gonna have to go over TNA.
Yeah, this is the only place he's gonna be able to go. TNA, and he's TNA, NWA, MLW. That's all. That's his choices now.
Pretty much for like a long-term contract. Yeah. And those really it. All right, man. Then if that's the case, it is time for us to talk about this crazy week in AEW, and we need to start talking about that hot episode of AEW Dynamite.
Man, let me tell you, man. Like this week's episode of Dynamite was a pretty damn good episode.
I liked it. A lot of talking for my taste, which was a little surprising, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's different when it's actually interesting, right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't happen every week. I think that's the other thing too, right? Like it's not the formula of, hey, I'm coming. The world champion comes in the ring, talks in the ring for an hour, and then we go to commercial break. Before a match.
Yeah.
But I digress. Look, we're here to talk about that sweet, sweet AEW Dynamite. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick it off right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, right in the beginning of the show, we got Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman pretty much let it all out. He told everything. He told the story about his journey for the past 2 years. And like one of the first things he begins with, he's like, hey, he's still trying to wonder how, after all the shit he's done, people are still cheering him, or how they can cheer for him. And it's just like, you're Hangman, dude. Can't hate you, man. Like, you're Hangman. So yeah, man. So the main thing he talked about was he wanted, he talked about his quest for revenge, and after what Swerve did, involved his family and stuff like that, he wanted revenge, and he talks about his journey, and he finally got his revenge, and that after he got the revenge, and he was up on the ramp, so it was after the cage match between him, the lights out cage match between him and Swerve. He stood on the ramp, and I think when he looked back, that we all thought he would have remorse. No. It was more like, you know what? This didn't make me feel fulfilled. I think I'm just going to have to go and just finish him off. And he stopped himself from doing it. And, the fans were asking why. He's like, you know what? I can't tell you why. I can't give you a good reason why. But he's like, he looked at the camera. He's like, hey, he dressed Swerve strictly. He's like, hey, I'm probably not going to forget what happened to me. And forget what happened, nor am I going to forgive it, but I have to put it behind me. And him putting it behind him was him entering the Owen Hart Cup. And, he talked about who he beat, which is, last week Kyle Fletcher to get into the finals, and the week before that was Josh Alexander. And now, he, in the finals, he's going to go against one of the best wrestlers in the world, or the so-called best wrestler in the world. He is the best wrestler in the world, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ospreay. And right after he said Will Ospreay's name, you know what would happen. You can't call out the babyface without the babyface coming out. So Will Ospreay comes out, and Ospreay, he was like, hey, he was telling Hangman, while you were sitting here running roughshod like throughout everybody, he was going through everybody trying to tear everything down. He was out there wrestling, doing the meet and greets, doing everything, bringing the company and the image back up, and doing everything he could to get to a world title scene or get into the world title picture. He also mentioned that it was like, oh, you talk all about all this, but you want redemption, and you think we're gonna all forget about that. He's like, Ospreay's like, hell no, I'm not gonna forget that, and I'm not, and your so-called character arc, main character, hero arc, or whatever, well, it's gonna end with me. You're not going through me. I have a problem with that. I'm gonna take you down. So as they were talking, Don Callis comes out and interrupts. Let me tell you, you cannot get the amount of booze and stuff like that Don Callis gets. There's no. They were so loud as he was cut, as Don Callis was talking.
Yeah, they
it
were.
was loud.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was so loud. There's only funny enough, right? There's only one other person that I've seen like get that much like just for talking, and that's Alicia Edwards in
Oh yeah,
she's the heater for a reason. Yeah, Don Callis. He came out, and all the Don Callis, most of the Don Callis family was there. Rocky Romero, Trent, Josh Alexander, Takeshita, Archer, and it seems like Don Callis is not over Ospreay leaving the Don Callis family. Don Callis is still upset about that. He's mad.
ugh.
And, what happens, it ends up, Ospreay, comes back at him. He's like, hey, take any of you two, and Will and me and Hangman, as he was about to lay down the challenge, Hangman, he had his hand on Hangman. Hangman was like, yo, get your hand off me. And Don Callis went in and he was like, yeah, we'll take any two of the Don Callis family and take you guys on next week. Or no, beach break. Sorry,
Yeah.
not next week, beach break.
It was still technically at the time it was next week, but for us when this goes up, it's gonna be in a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple days. So that's how it ended up. And Don Callis and the family walked out, and then Hangman and Ospreay had a little stare down because Hangman had said a few words to Ospreay, and Ospreay was got out of the ring and left, and that was the end of that segment. So let's talk about this segment, man.
Man, all right. First off, we'll start with Hangman's part, right?
Yeah.
The thing that stuck out to me the most about Hangman, one, fantastic promo. As always, that motherfucker can talk.
Yep.
Like, he can talk his ass off. Two, I want everyone to remember this. It was a few weeks ago. Hangman was not over what Swerve did. He didn't put it behind him back then. Because the last time those two were on the screen together, it was Swerve walking away from Nana, going after the Bucks, and then Hangman randomly shows up and starts yelling, right? And remember, they got that face to face, and Swerve was like, "Move on, get over it." And Hangman was like, "You broke into my home," and then Swerve was like, "You burned my house down." And then Hangman was like, "You deserved it." And then he was like, "I know." Hangman was not over it. It was Swerve again that put Hangman in his place. So again, the only reason that he is doing this is because of Swerve.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So we need to just lay that out there right now for those who might forget, just in case. Because he was not over it a month ago.
Swerve kind of course corrected him.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, move on, bro. We have both done bad things to each other. Move on. Stop getting in my face. Stop getting in my way."
Yeah.
So I just wanted to call that out because it wasn't just Hangman just, not just being like, "You know what, I'm the bigger man here." No. Hangman, I see you. I see you. I know the Hangman fans won't be like, Hangman's always right. He's done nothing wrong. I see what you're talking about, Hangman. Also, Ospreay was just Ospreay in this. He was so good.
Oh yeah.
right? Because he brought up everything that Hangman has done wrong over the last 2 years. Like, sure, yes, Hangman didn't start that way, right? He didn't start by being just this piece of shit, right? Like, he was pushed there, but he's the one who kept going. And Ospreay brought up Swerve. He brought up Christopher Daniels. Like, he brought up other people, and Hangman has to carry that for the rest of his career. Like, that's just how it has to be. He retired Christopher Daniels, right? So, that's what he has to do. And the bar about this not being about Hangman's redemption, but about Ospreay's ascension.
Yeah, Ospreay was spitting, man.
He was spitting, man. Jesus Christ. And to stop my yap session, the last thing I'm going to say is, remember last week when we talked about what Ospreay has to do if he were to lose against Hangman? There was like nothing, right? We talked about it. Like, he was in, it was a great match, but he was in a throwaway match with Brody King in a tag team, right? So he was just kind of doing random things just to be on TV. So they bring back the Don Callis family to redo that. So now there is a path, right? So if, despite the fact that this will be like a rerun, right? It'll be like a redo. If Ospreay were to lose at Double or Nothing, now he can go after Don Callis family again. So he at least has something now. Is it a good something? I don't think so. I feel like if they really want to, they could have put like a different kind of red herring in there. They could have put someone else, anything, right? But yeah, now Ospreay will have something to do at All In if he were to lose, which he's not gonna lose. Sorry.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I think the Don Callis family. So I know, like, at face value, it looks like they're there to fuck with Ospreay, right? I think they were there to fuck with Hangman.
They were. Don Callis did talk a lot of shit about Hangman. You are right.
I think his, like, I feel like now if Hangman loses, right? It has to be due. It'll be due to something that the Don Callis family did to him. Because we have this tag match this week, right?
Yeah.
Nothing can say that he doesn't get hurt during the tag match from somebody in the Don Callis family. He gets hurt, and then he still does the title match because he's Hangman. Well, not the title match, but the match at Double or Nothing because he's Hangman. He ain't going to step out. And then he just loses because of the Don Callis family. And now Hangman's new story is him being vigilante and rolling down the whole Don Callis family.
That would be a way to bring Swerve into it, right? Because everyone is expecting, and we could be wrong for this, so we always have to do that. Everyone is expecting at some point Swerve and Hangman to tag up with each other, right? And it could be two ways, because you're right. It could either be the Don Callis family or it could be the Bucks. Like, either way, because right now Swerve is dealing with the Bucks. So there are two paths for that to happen also. So you are completely right. It could for sure be more Hangman than Ospreay, which would be fantastic because we don't need Ospreay to redo the Don Callis family stuff. That was like 6-7 months. We don't need to do that. It is interesting though. This is very interesting. Like I said, I feel like no matter what, it just feels like Ospreay's gonna win and go on to the main event of All In. Like it just feels like it, right? But now there's other stuff that can happen just in case. So now it really can feel like a 50-50 instead of everyone saying from the very beginning, oh yeah, Ospreay has the motivation. Ospreay's gonna win.
Right. Because Hangman also has that motivation too, right?
Yeah, his second redemption. First it was alcohol, now it's rage.
And what better than to do something? They do something to him, and then he while he's in his redemption arc, and they try to derail it. And now he has to get through this new obstacle, which is this gigantic family of super wrestlers.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be interesting, right? Like there are a lot of paths that can go now, right? Like now there are a lot of things that can happen. I mean, we'll have to see. It definitely still feels like we have the one path, but now there's at least more threads now. It's not just cut and dry Ospreay Hangman, that's it. So it's in a good place now.
Okay, so after this, FTR and Stokely come out, and in front of Tony Schiavone, Stokely is going in on Schiavone, and he was like, hey, do you have a problem with FTR? Do you have because every week you're talking trash about FTR and you're not talking about them favorably. He's like, oh, it sounds like you also have a problem with me and, me being Stokely, right? He's like, hey, you called me what, a snake in the grass or something like that? Stokely pretty much called him a piece of shit. And Tony Schiavone stopped him. He was like, hey, come on. We're trying to run a show here. Trying to get on with the show. And then Stokely pushes him down. Pushes him back in the seat. And, Schiavone, jumps up, about to get back into Stokely's face. And FTR gets in the way. And they're like, they take the mic and then, start talking about Danny Garcia. Or talking about Danny Garcia. They were talking about how they're like, hey, you made us do this, Danny. The typical, you made me do it. You made us damn near kill 2.0, and now we're gonna have to beat you senseless. It's not gonna hurt me as much as it's gonna hurt you. It's pretty much what they're saying. After that, I don't think it was announced after that, because I think that was later, that one of the members of FTR is going to go against Danny Garcia.
Yeah, I think it was later. But yeah, it was announced.
And, and then, at the end they said, tell Nigel McGuinness that FTR will see him tomorrow on Collision. And, So, what did you think about that?
I mean, I thought it was a good segment. Stokely, I feel like we shouldn't be surprised about how good Stokely is, but Stokely works really well with FTR. You got 2.5 people in that whole thing that can talk now, Stokely and Dax, and then Cash every once in a while. So it definitely works, right? I do think it's interesting that they're going after Nigel. I really enjoy that. I mean, technically, this started with Tony. Like, I know it started for Tony, but it's interesting that they're now trying to get at Nigel, which we'll talk about more on Collision. So, but yeah, I liked it. Overall, it was a really good segment.
So, one thing I didn't mention earlier about how this show felt, just the feeling of the show in general, the arena, and just how the show was laid out and how everything was going. It felt like an episode of Monday Nitro.
Think so?
It kind of felt like it. How, but it has a lot of it has to deal with the hot crowd, right?
Yeah.
Like crowd being in there. Actually, you know what? It's like it was almost like a cross between Nitro and ECW. Not as crazy as ECW, because Lord have mercy, ECW crowds were fucking nuts.
Oh yeah.
I would say more on the end of like WCW.
It definitely it just feels like AEW has like a different energy in the room now, especially since going to these smaller arenas where they can actually where they can fill up the entire arena. It definitely every show feels like it has like a great vibe to it. Because listen, I have been to AEW shows when they were trying to do like the 10,000 seat arenas and only filling in half the people. Like the shows felt limited. You will watch the shows, you could tell that they were trying to avoid like half the arena and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, because they can express themselves along with how crazy all the crowds are, and they're not going to the same places over and over and over again.
Yep.
I can see what you mean. Like, it definitely feels more rabid, especially like over the last like couple of weeks. Imagine Chicago next week is going to be wild if they keep the same energy.
Oh yeah, and shit, when they do their residency at the 2300.
Man.
Oh my goodness, man.
You want an ECW feel, there you go.
Oh, it is going to, man, well, we'll talk about the ECW feel in a few after these couple of segments.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like it's definitely a vibe, man. It's definitely a vibe. I dig it. I like it. It gives me that old school wrestling vibe.
Because we don't really get like a crazy rabid. Okay, I'm gonna say this, and when I say this, I mean on American TV.
Yes. We
don't get those rabid fans that are there for wrestling and that are gonna sit there and cheer for everything and do the dueling chants. We don't get that very often too much anymore.
No.
It's coming back. It's coming back now over like the last like 6 months of AEW doing these small arenas where they can fill up, right? So you have a lot of the sickos that are in there that are really enjoying it. And I know you can go to an indie show, you get all that kind of stuff, but I'm talking specifically American TV. AEW, WWE. We don't really get those too much anymore. So it's nice to see it again. It's nice to watch a show and feel the energy from it. So I get you.
Yeah, because man, like you're speaking about like some of the old shows and things like that. Like I implore anyone watch a old WWF or like WCW Nitro. They were crazy throughout. The energy never stopped.
Specifically 90s.
Yeah, 90s. Like actually no, like actually honestly, these two like well
Yeah,
not
80s also.
not so much WCW in the 80s, WWF in the 80s was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And they were also, and then later on they, because they kind of cooled off and then they, came back up again during like the Attitude Era. And then, them in WCW, their crowds were just, they were nuts. They were insane. They were completely insane.
Bro, them early TNA shows. Them early TNA shows had that feel.
Yeah.
Like they would be crazy also. But yeah, we definitely, it's nice to feel that energy. And it doesn't feel like, I feel like someone's going to take this out of context when I say this. Like it doesn't feel fake or forced, right? Like I can give an example of one in AEW that felt like really fake. I did not like the Vegas crowd when AEW was here for Collision. What, a month ago, 2 months ago, however long ago that was?
Mm-hmm.
Like it just felt like that crowd was like kind of, I don't know. I think that crowd was like very mad that that Double or Nothing was taken, because it was taken like, we found out recently.
Yeah, it was like a few weeks before the show came.
Yeah. So it felt like the place was full in there, which is nice, but it definitely did not feel like a show like this Dynamite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Despite the fact that card was pretty great too, and you got like a surprise swerve and everything, like energy wasn't there.
Well, they shouldn't have taken Double or Nothing and sent it to fake ass Arizona, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh no, trust me. When we get to that review, I'm gonna be salty.
I'm already salty.
Especially if we find out that we get like an Anarchy in the Arena with like Moxley and the Bucks versus like everyone, I am going to freak out.
We're gonna get it, right?
I know it's gonna be set up with the cage match, and I know you're gonna talk about some more stuff that happened on Dynamite also, like the little surprise that we had. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Let's get there so we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we had a backstage thing with Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. I am not gonna repeat any of that.
T&A.
So if you want to see it, just watch that segment. You'll be good. The interesting dynamic between the two, Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. We'll see where it goes.
I don't have a lot of comments on that, but one, Harley Cameron can make anyone next to her super interesting, and I love that about her.
Yeah, shit. She was making Soraya interesting.
She was able to get Mercedes to loosen up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just like Harley just has that. We've used energy a lot in this episode, but like she has that energy. Like you can't repeat what she's gonna say. You're not gonna repeat it, but
no.
Hilarious. And then Anna Jay was also bouncing back with like her stuff. TNA, no, tenacity and aggression. It's great.
Yeah, she was like, oh, it means something else too, and then she also said it. I'm like, well, I am totally not saying that on the podcast.
Oh, you're gonna be mad because when we get to Collision, I wrote down Tony Storm's entire promo, and I'm gonna say it word for word.
Go for it.
When we get there, I will.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it was a good thing. But so at the end of it, they were going out to the four-way match.
Finally, a match.
We had the four-way AEW Women's Championship Eliminator between Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, Toni Storm, your champion, and Thunder Rosa. And from the start, this match it actually went pretty crazy. Like from the start.
Mm-hmm.
All the ladies were just getting in there, hitting pretty hard, hitting a little snug today.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. So at the beginning of it, kind of paired off between, we had Penelope Ford and Thunder Rosa. They were fighting. And then we had Anna Jay and a little bit of Toni Storm. Now, there's something that happens here between Anna Jay and Toni Storm. Toni Storm does a bridging German suplex. No, it was just like a bridging suplex, but she was pinning Anna Jay. Penelope Ford goes in the ring and kicks her, does a low blow on Toni Storm and to get her to release the hold. Remember that for the end of the match. And, so that happens. There's a ton of action that happens outside the ring. Thunder Rosa, she jumps outside the ring, with a big move off the top rope. And then, it only went crazier from there. Thunder Rosa was just going off on the floor against Penelope Ford. And Penelope Ford finally broke away and, hit a dive on everybody. So they got back in the ring. We had Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, and I think it was Penelope Ford in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm started doing tag moves to Penelope Ford. Toni Storm splashed her in the corner. And then Penelope Ford, Jesus Christ. Thunder Rosa, did that thing where she jumps off the back and then does the drop kick. And they were, in the middle of the ring, kind of like cheering a little bit. And then, of course, what happens. If Penelope Ford's there, it's on site for everybody. So Megan Bayne shows up. And Megan Bayne showed up and, it's no DQ. So they couldn't, get Megan Bayne to leave. So Megan Bayne came in like the monster that she is. She immediately takes out Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. And then does a big-ass powerbomb to Anna Jay. And then at that point, after she did the powerbomb to Anna Jay, Harley Cameron comes with a pipe. And she hits, of course she hits Megan Bayne with the pipe. And then clotheslines her outside of the ring, and then they fight on to the back. So while in the ring, Penelope Ford does almost look like a STF. No, Indian Deathlock. Ha. To Anna Jay. And Toni Storm gets up there and is watching her do it and is thinking of what to do. And she low blows Penelope Ford, and Toni Storm locks in the TCM chicken wing on Penelope Ford, and Penelope Ford taps in 12-0 in title eliminators. Still, your timeless Toni Storm.
Listen, I know people had a problem with the match. I you know what? I get it. Whatever.
What was the problem?
Apparently, people didn't like the low blow stuff, and I have been told, and I know some of them who did that don't really talk to women, but I have been told that it does hurt. Maybe not like us, but it hurts. It's also still getting kicked. You know what I mean? Getting kicked hurts. Like
one of the funny stories, long time ago, when I was doing kind of, not which martial art it is, but the thing where, one of the things is, for guys, they can kick a guy in the nuts, but you could also kick a woman in the crotches as long as you push. It's like the motion is different. You gotta hit and push back, and it hurts. Apparently bad. So for people that don't know, you should probably look it up and find out.
Yeah, I don't really care. I really enjoyed the match. I feel like we're kind of setting up, because now that they're saying that all these Toni Storm Eliminator matches, and the fact that when we get there, we'll talk about the next one that's happening this week. This one, I feel like this one she's going to lose. And I think it will be interesting, because now that they're doing them in 4 ways, if she doesn't get pinned, I mean, that's still someone winning. That's still someone getting a shot. That's how it should be, at least.
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's going to happen this week.
Because she doesn't have to get pinned at all.
No, it's a 4-way, right? So.
Yep. I think she's going to lose an Eliminator to Megan Bayne.
We have, I guess we can talk about it really quick, a little bit, but we'll talk about when we actually get there. Toni Storm is going to be doing another 4-way Eliminator match. One of them is a returning Sky Blue, which we'll talk about more on Collision. And then we have 2 unknown spots.
Yep.
There were teases for Thekla. I know a lot of people missed it because it was very easy to miss. But you got that spider that was coming down during the women's matches this week.
Yep.
Toxic Spider. That's for sure one. The other one could be anyone. It could be like Mina. It could be Mariah May if she resigned. It could be anyone. So we'll see. I think this next one's the one she's gonna lose.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah, we're gonna have to see because she could probably do what one this week and maybe like one if she did one more next week.
Yeah, because she's not gonna know who she's wrestling. Oh, okay. She's gonna have to wrestle at Double or Nothing for sure. Like Tom Storm's like one of the most popular people on in the show. She has to be
Yeah,
on the show. We just don't know who she's wrestling yet.
correct.
And then after that, that's when we get either Mercedes or Jamie at All In.
Mm.
So we have there is a little bit of time to establish, a challenger, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming from one of these eliminators.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, for sure. Okay, so after this match, wish we could cue in the "We Hurt People" music.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get an 8-bit meaty version or something.
I actually I don't know this person specifically, but for a YouTube channel that I had, I knew someone that does like video game 8-bit music. So I'm gonna see if I can reach out to them, see if they'll take a commission. We'll see.
Hey, we might have a new theme for the show.
That would be amazing. I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna talk to her this week. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of her.
Okay. So the Hurt Syndicate, hey, they've arrived. And man, I'm just gonna say, I can see you guys coming out of the heel tunnel, but come on, guys, no one's booing you. No one's gonna ever boo you guys.
No, they're starting to get up there with the Hangman. Like Hangman's getting all the cheers. Her Syndicate's starting to work their way up there now too. So
MVP, of course, he gets in there. He announces Shelton Benjamin, the standard of excellence Shelton Benjamin and the almighty Bobby Lashley. And he was like, hey, I got a question. This is where the best wrestle. So where are all the tag teams at willing to step up to the Hurt Syndicate? And who has what it takes to take the titles? I knew the second day these guys came out, I was like, all right, you had crew at the side of the ring. Their little asses ain't going to do nothing. If crew comes out, you know who else is coming out. And of course, it was Top Flight. And Top Flight, of course, admitting, they've been getting their ass kicked lately. They've been losing a lot. And, what better way to rebound than to challenge for the tag titles? I'm like, that's not how this shit works, man. Everybody else had to win first in order to get a shot.
yeah,
And, Darius was like, oh, who wants to see a Motor City Miracle? And everyone's like, nobody really for it. And then MJF comes out and beats the shit out of both of them. Like, he jumped Top Flight and just beat the hell out of both of them. There's no other way to put it.
poor
right?
poor Top Flight.
Top Flight was the sacrificial lamb this week. And then MJF came in the ring and he was like, I hurt people. And it reminded me of like grade school, like that kid that tried to fit in with the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did that thing and they're like, I do it too. Yeah, that's what that felt like.
Yeah, I'm cool too, guys.
Yeah, that's what that felt like. Lashley looked at him and he's like, yo, I'll have an answer for you next week. And that was pretty much it for that segment. You got anything for that segment?
Poor Top Flight. And I know I haven't been the biggest advocate of Top Flight lately either. But man, that kind of sucks.
I'm just gonna say it. People are gonna hate me for saying it, but I'm gonna say it. They need to go to Ring of Honor.
They did that already and didn't work, remember?
Well, it was working, and then Dante Martin broke his leg, right? So that's pretty much what happened there.
Yeah. I mean,
But they were doing fine in Ring of Honor.
They got Layla. They were doing like their thing, and it just for whatever reason it didn't translate to AEW. I don't want to call it main roster. I don't like doing that. That's gross. But yeah, it didn't translate to AEW. Yeah, they no matter what, they need to figure something out.
Yeah,
like for sure.
That's why I feel like I'm not saying stay down there forever. Take 3-4 months. Go down there. Have a stint down there for a bit. Get your characters in where they need to be. Right.
I hate saying what I'm about to say.
Go ahead.
This is like a fix all the time. They should have turned heel with crew.
I mean, they should have.
They should have.
But they would just get overshadowed by the other two.
I mean, at least they would all been heels together, I guess. I don't know. Like something like I don't like the whole like, oh, if they're stagnant as a babyface, turn them heel and that will help. Like I don't like that. But like Top Flight needs like some kind of drastic change. And I feel like now, more than ever, after getting beat up by MJF of all people, this should be you know what, I'm tired of this bullshit moment. And they take that to Ring of Honor and fucking get them tag team title. Well, no, infantry first. But like something has to happen with them.
Yeah, like I feel like that's what that's the most logical step for them is to go down to Ring of Honor, get those get hot down there, get something that works, and they come back up to AEW and then do it up there. I just feel like they're just kind of in this weird, I don't know, Groundhog Day moment. They just they haven't figured it out yet. There's something they haven't figured out. Because they can wrestle. We know that.
Yeah.
But it's the other parts where it's like when you get to the upper tier when you're trying to get past the mid and to the upper tier, they haven't even hit the mid part yet, right? Like they're trying to like battle, go for like upper tier stuff, and it's like it ain't working.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things they can do. There's a lot of things they can do. It's just now about like AEW investing in them to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's at this point, that's really all it is. Like if AEW invest in them to do it, they will find a way to get characters and they'll find a way to get better. And that's really all they need. They just need the investment.
But no, okay, I agree they need the investment, right? But on the other hand, I'm just, you might disagree with me, but it's also on them.
Well, yeah. No, like I don't disagree with you. It's on them also. But that's why you need the investment. That's why you go to a Ring of Honor. That's why you go to like a Super Junior Tag League. You know what I mean? You go somewhere. But that's where they need the investment, because they haven't been able to, like, I haven't seen them go to New Japan. I haven't seen them go anywhere. And I'm not saying that part for sure not on them, right? That part. But realistically, you are right. They need to do this themselves, but they also need, you know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe they just need to change the scenery. Something.
Mm-hmm. That could be it.
Fucking look what happened with Jack Perry, bro.
Yeah.
Look at Anna Jay. Like look at Kevin Knight coming to AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just need to change the scenery. They need to go on a Japanese tour. They need to go, I don't know, have them wrestle in CMLL for a little bit. Like something.
Yeah.
I know this wasn't, Top Flight was like the smallest part of this whole thing, by the way.
But every time Top Flight comes up, we have these discussions about Top Flight.
Yeah, they just need to change. And like I said, we know what's going to happen with, like, MJF, her Syndicate. Yeah, we know, we talked about it. We both really enjoy what's going on. I don't want MJF to join the Syndicate. I don't think he will. Yeah, you don't think he will either. But yeah, really, like I said, the main thing I want to talk about is just getting Top Flight out of this hell that they're in.
Yeah, man. Like we talk about Top Flight every time because we care. All right.
I love Top Flight, and it's frustrating that they just can't get it together.
Yeah.
You need, like, they got Layla Gray, right? That's something that should help, and it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, not at all. Like, I see, if you watched the Ring of Honor on Friday on YouTube, by the way, guys, check out that whole show.
Mm-hmm.
She was on there, and yeah, she's like, Layla Gray by herself is awesome. So it's like, she's awesome, but like, you put her with Top Flight, she's still awesome, but Top Flight, those two, there's something they need to do to get it together, and I think you're right. I think they might need a change of scenery.
Yeah. You know what? It feels like whenever they're around people, the people around them also like lose like cool points. I don't want to call it cool points. That sounds really, really messed up. But like they also like lose it a little bit, right? Like, it's not, Layla Gray with Top Flight is so boring because she doesn't get to do anything. But because Top Flight also doesn't do anything. But
if you put Layla Gray in, all right, you guys are gonna think I'm mean, but they're losers, okay? I had to say it, okay? There was no other way for me to articulate this shit. It was like you put her with losers, okay? They lose a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So that does not make you look cool. You want to know why the crew left? Because those two were losers. That's why.
And they end up becoming infinitely more interesting as heels.
Yeah. The second they left, and I saw you watch Ring of Honor, you see Layla Gray by herself. She is 100 times more interesting by herself than with Top Flight.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird vortex, the make you suck vortex when you get to Top Flight, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they got to go somewhere else for a little bit. They if AEW really listens to this podcast, which at this point it feels like they maybe, I don't know, like they could have been. You could have put them in 2 different blocks. Like, they needed some extra people for Best of Super Juniors. Top Flight could have been, like, Dante could have been A block, Darius could have been B block. Like, if right now you can get them ready to go to Super Junior Tag League at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like, something. But yeah, that's, yeah. Just sad.
Yeah. But, yeah, let's get to the next one. So, next little segment, it was with Ricochet and the Bucks. And, you know, Ricochet is telling the Bucks, hey, man, I beat Swerve twice, so you ain't got to worry about them. He's like, hell, you know, I even beat Briscoe and, you know, Mike Bailey. He's like, hey, just leave it to me. I got the strategy. You follow me, you guys will win. And the Bucks are like, yeah, okay, well, you know, we'll do that. And then the Bucks are about to go into their locker room, and they're surprised. Because all the Death Riders are there. Marina Shafir angrily closes the door. Speaking of, that match was between Marina Shafir and Layla Gray.
Oh, they even got Marina wrestling on Ring of Honor?
Yes. Yeah. It's not like she's not wrestling anywhere. She's wrestling on Ring of Honor. So, yeah. So there was that.
Yeah. I feel like we can fancy book all we want, but I think we should wait to really talk about this until after the Steel Cage match. Because I have a feeling that we're going to get some, like, Young Buck Death Riders development during the cage match this week.
The exploding super kick never loses, ever.
Let them do that to Samoa Joe. That would be great.
They're going to die after that, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Nick Wayne. And so next up we have Nick Wayne, and he is in the ring. He's going to face one of Christian's opponents from his past. So we're in New Jersey, and there's a big guy from New Jersey that was in ECW, and has also went against Christian before. So Nick Wayne is standing in the ring, he's waiting, and you hear gore, gore, gore. And you're like, oh shit, it's Rhino. And Rhino, you know, of course, comes to the ring, and, you know, those fans, they went crazy when he came out. Hometown guy, but it's Rhino. Who hates Rhino? Nobody. If you hate Rhino, you're just a hater.
Exactly.
Stop. At this point, right? And hey, I'll just say this: Rhino can still move, man, but he's been active. He's been active this whole time because he was in that tag team with Heath Slater and
he still does like a bunch of indie dates apparently. So
yeah, like he's active. So yeah, so match starts. Rhino, being the large man that he is, was bulldozing Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne finally got the upper hand, and, you know, this match was pretty short, but it ended up Nick Wayne, he dodged a gore attempt from Rhino, and he hit the kill switch and pinned Rhino for the 3. So, like, the funny thing, there was a couple of things, like, storytelling-wise that was happening here. When Rhino came out, Christian Cage was laughing. He was happy Rhino came out. He's like, you got this, good luck. And anytime Rhino would get the upper hand, Christian was happy. Anytime Nick Wayne got the upper hand, Christian was pissed. Mm-hmm. Throughout the whole match. And at the end of it, Christian Cage took the belt, and Nick Wayne was like, hey, give me my belt. I just defended it. It's my belt. And Christian Cage acted like, you know, he looked at the belt, he acted like he was going to put it around Nick Wayne. And then he took it back, and then he dropped it in front of him, and then just left the ring. Like, ooh. We're going to have that turn sooner rather than later, after Nick Wayne gets back, right?
Funny thing, very quick thing. Nick Wayne right now, like you said, when he gets back, he's in the Best Super Juniors right now, right?
Uh-huh.
First match was against Show, and if you know anything about New Japan and House of Torture, they get booed a lot, right? And Nick Wayne was wrestling very good guy-ish, very baby-facey.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next match will determine it because he's wrestling El Desperado next. Oh. That should be a really good one. But I think tomorrow being Monday, I think. I don't remember the Best Super Junior schedule. But yeah, that's going to be his next one. So if he also wrestles kind of facey there, they're already working on his turn.
Yeah.
In this tournament. So we can see. And this wouldn't be the first time that an AEW wrestler did story progression for their own thing while in a tournament. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So after this, we had a little thing with Roosh, and he's still pissed at Kevin Knight because him and Kevin Knight during that $100,000 match, they got into a fight and they just fought straight to the back. And that was the match Sammy Guevara ended up winning. But he's like, "Hey, Kevin Knight, he cost me some money, so now you must pay in blood." And of course, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, and the crowd was completely into it. You heard them say the whole phrase and everything. So, hey, Roosh is doing more than Andrade. Too soon?
No, not soon enough.
Yeah, fuck Andrade. He wants to come back. Nah, stay your ass over there. Remember, you wanted out. Remember?
Yep, exactly.
So right after this, we had Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Swerve versus Ricochet and the Bucks. I started taking notes and then I stopped because after about a minute, it just went fucking bananas. It just went crazy.
Yeah, PWG, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah, it just went straight PWG. So, I'm just gonna say, so if you guys want a car crash of a match, a car crash in the best way possible, I mean, and when I say that, I mean, all kinds of action throughout the match, complete craziness. Watch this match. You'll love it.
It's so good.
So, the Bucks with Ricochet, they win. Matt Jackson, he rolls up Swerve, gets a surprise roll up, most undefeated move in pro wrestling. He rolls Swerve up for the win. Swerve was pissed at the end. He was looking at him, but there was a lot that happened in this match. It was a fun match, really really fun match. Everybody got their chance to shine. Even crazy ass Mark Briscoe. Well, he shows out every week now. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody if you've been watching Mark Briscoe these past few months.
Yeah,
he's just been showing out, man.
Mm-hmm.
He found it. He found what he was looking for, and now he's showing out. But yeah, it was a fun match. What did you think of this match, man?
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the dynamic between Ricochet and the Bucks. At this point, just make him part of the elite. No one, it would be the right call. It would be fantastic. On the other side of that, I'm interested to see what happens with Swerve now. Now that they lost this, Swerve ain't done. You know how Swerve gets.
Yep.
So again, I feel like we should keep our eyes out for that cage match this week, because I'm pretty sure the word of the day on Wednesday will be shenanigans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but that's it. I really enjoyed the match. That's really it.
Yeah. Oh man. I would say I didn't go over it very much, guys. This match, it was a ton of stuff that happened in the match. Go watch it. It's one of those ones I'm gonna tell you. Go watch it. It was a fun match.
And if you are listening to this podcast and you have already watched it, watch it again.
Or actually, I have an even better assignment for you.
Ooh.
Put down in the comments what you liked.
Ooh, yes.
About the match.
Yes, please.
And we could get a conversation going about it.
Mm-hmm.
So after this, they were backstage. Renee was backstage with Will Ospreay. Ospreay was about to start talking to Renee. MJF shows up. And MJF was like, no. I want you to beat Hangman. And he's like, because when you beat Hangman, and then win the world championship, you're going to give me the easiest path to the world title. Yeah, good luck, Max. Good luck on that one. And Ospreay was like, hey, well, if you want this title so bad, why didn't you join the Owen Hart Cup and, to fight for a chance for the title? And Max, of course, did the whole thing where it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to show you that no one's on the level with the devil. And then Ospreay was like, Ospreay came back and he was like, hey, I don't have to be on the same level as the devil because I'm on a different level. Ospreay was on his shit tonight, dude.
He's a talker. He's a talker now. He's been talking for about 5 years now.
But tonight he was on his shit. He was on it. From the start, from the promos in the beginning of the show to now, Ospreay was in it. He was in the zone.
Yeah, man. I feel like this is another interesting one, right? Because this could easily be like another red herring, right? Because now you put all these forces against Ospreay Hangman. Now it doesn't feel as obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like, and every single person that interacts with them wants a different person to win. So it's nice that to just, at least to the face of the audience, it's like, you never know. It's still 50-50. You don't know who's going to win. So it was they did a good job this week of putting some more people into this to make it less obvious one way or the other.
Yeah, yeah. So next up, we have Jamie Hayter with Renee Paquette, and they were doing a sit down. This was probably like one of the best segments of the night by far, in my opinion. Hayter was talking her shit, man. She says she wants to know the real Mercedes, and not the hype, not the person behind the hype, but she wants to know the real Mercedes because I think Renee said something towards the lines of Mercedes says that Hayter reminds her of herself, and Hayter was not having it. She said she felt insulted that Mercedes even said that, pretty much. And she pretty much said, Jamie Hayter was like, hey, I don't have the star power, your resume, or all that. But she says, but what I do have is, grit, truth, and, now more of a reason to hurt her. And pretty much Hayter was like, she wants to take her down. But Renee, the interesting thing about it, as they're talking, Renee talks about Hayter's back injury. And she was like, yeah, hey, that's irrelevant. She's good to go. She's good to fight. And, right when she was about to say something else, Mercedes Moné pops in. They start going, arguing and going off, and they start fighting. They were fighting in the back, and it spilled out to the crowd. Like, it like panned over, and they were like fighting over what looked like a little short balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mercedes jumped over the balcony, ran towards the entrance ramp, and looked like she ran away for a bit. And then Hayter was just standing there and like, yeah. I took her out. And Mercedes came back, hit her upside the head, and then did the Monet statement. Oh, not the Monet statement, but the her submission, and wrenched back really back to to damage her back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she held on to it for a little bit, and then finally left. Statement maker. I always forget. I always call it the fucking bank statement. Jesus Christ.
That hot old name.
Yeah. Statement maker. But yeah, that was a pretty fun segment. What did you think about it?
I thought it was really good. Haters here talking her shit as she should. The women's own heart is so much more fun than the men's, because they're like Ospreay and Hangman doing the can they coexist thing, and Jamie and Mercedes just beating the shit out of each other.
They're trying to kill each other.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm happy that it feels weird that we're not right into Double or Nothing and they get to feud a little bit, but it is nice that they get a little bit of time to like build something up, even more than just having the world title on the opportunity at the world title on the line. So we'll see where it goes, but this is very interesting match, and I like what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a very fun match that's going to happen, and there's things that make it to where it could go both ways, like Mercedes losing over this weekend. You could probably run the story of Mercedes is starting to have a downfall or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Running herself too ragged.
Yeah, and starts losing all of her titles and things like that. So, we'll see. It's going to be fun. Next up, Willow was speaking to Alicia too. And, Kris Statlander came in. She was like, hey, you ain't going to talk to me back there. We're going to talk in front of the whole world. Willow was like, hey, you know what? I have nothing to say to you, but you know what? The sickos would like is a match between you and I on Collision, and we can have a match there. So they have which leads to them having a match at Collision, and we'll talk about it on the Collision.
I'm gonna gush
one of the best matches of Collision.
I'm gonna gush about that because it was the best AEW match this week for sure, like bar none. Like it was the best AEW match this week for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just great.
So right after this, we have. I lost my way on my notes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we have Okada versus Kevin Knight. So Okada's in the ring. He came out. He's in the ring. And Kevin Knight, as he is walking out, he gets beat up. If Roosh comes out and starts beating the hell out of him before the match even starts. And, it's supposed to be for a Continental Championship Eliminator. And one of the rules of the Continental Championship is there's no interruptions. But if you beat somebody up during their entrance, it doesn't count. So it's during the match where the rules count. So Mike Bailey came out. He ran Roosh off. And Knight went in the ring and had a hell of a match with Okada. Okada at like 30%. We gotta have our Tagoro rating here.
Yeah, save himself for All In still apparently.
Yeah, I guess. But as much as Kevin Knight tried, Okada had an answer for everything. He wasn't getting hurt by anything. He was literally tanking everything Kevin Knight did. And Okada, of course, hits the Rainmaker, pins Kevin Knight, and that was that. Of course, Okada won.
Yeah. I mean, what to expect, right? Like he wasn't gonna lose it. He wasn't gonna lose.
No,
that wasn't gonna happen.
Not at all. And they're just setting up. Kevin Knight is in the Best of Super Juniors. Also, it was like the night before they had to leave.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had the Don Callis family again, and they talked about wanting to fight that. I mean, pretty much. They laid down a match for the Outrunners. Outrunners in RPG Vice. We'll call it RPG Vice instead of Roppongi Vice, but whatever.
I have a rant in my notes about that, and yeah. I am sick. I'm gonna call them Roppongi Vice. I do not care. I don't know why they're doing this, but I refuse to let go of the name Roppongi Vice, especially considering they still have the Roppongi Vice theme song that actively says Roppongi Vice. Yeah. So, whatever.
And the next up, we have, we see the Hurt Syndicate again. They have somebody. They had counsel. And the Hurt, they asked Bobby Lashley what, they're pretty much asking if he was ready to approve MJF or not. And the counsel said, hey, don't say shit. And, Lashley was like, hey, as my counsel says, and we all listen to the counsel, you will all find out next week, which means there's some type of clause. He's going to have to fight some people or something else, we're going to find out. Mm-hmm. But for a second there, I thought it was Harvey Whippleman, but that's a name.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. I was like, who is this random man? Why is he randomly here all of a sudden? Has he been there this entire time today? Like, what do you need to sign a contract to get into the Syndicate? What is happening? Like, you need legal counsel to get a fourth. Maybe y'all don't need a fourth member then. You have to go through all this work to get a fourth. Y'all don't need one.
No, they don't want the fourth member. They're waiting for Alex Kane to come over. Come on over, Alex.
He almost said January 1st. June 1st.
Boom-ba-yay. That's all I'm going to say.
Bring the whole group, if you can. Just bring everybody.
If Mr. Thomas didn't fucking re-sign again, sure.
He resigned? Why did he do that?
No, I said if he didn't. I don't know if he did.
Okay, I was about to say, okay.
If he didn't resign again, yeah, bring them both, man. I'd love to see the Boom-ba-yay Fight Club at...
Hell yeah.
So now we have the main event of the night, which was Joe versus Claudio. This was like old school brutal, man. Joe and Claudio beat the living hell out of each other, man.
Oh, yeah.
And this match did not disappoint. I'll just say that. So, it was kind of short, though, to be honest. Maybe they were running out of time or something, but it was kind of short for the main event.
I feel like this isn't a knock, and I don't, when I say what I'm saying, I don't mean this as a knock.
Yeah.
It does not feel like Samoa Joe can really be wrestling like 15, 20-minute matches too much anymore. At least not singles. I think he can, but he saves it for big, more important matches, right? He's gonna have to on Wednesday, right? Like, you can't have a 10-minute cage match. I don't think.
No. Moxley ain't gonna have a 10-minute cage match. Are you crazy?
No, God no. They can't do that. You don't have to wrestle.
Yeah, your ass is gonna have to wrestle. You gotta want it. Well, so to end this match, Joe secures the victory with the Coquina Clutch, and after the match, when the Death Riders start making their way to the ring, Powerhouse Hobbs comes to the ring, and he's swinging the chair around, so nobody's getting in that ring. And what was it? I think they either teamed up or Samoa Joe slammed Claudio ribs first into the chair. I think it was Joe that like either powerbombed him or something like that into the chair.
It's either Joe or Hobbs, which I know that's like a 50-50 because that's who's out there. But
Yeah, it was Joe for sure because Hobbs was keeping everybody away. Because Joe set up the chair in the middle, and I forget which move it was, but he fucked him up and tossed him on the chair, and almost in the exact same way they did Hook.
yeah,
So
it was very similar.
Yeah. I think it was like a power bomb or something like that. But yeah, then that ended the show. So
Here, let me.
Dynamite as a whole, what did you think of the show?
I really liked the show a lot. Like I thought it was a really really good episode of Dynamite. I don't know why this thing is doing this. I want to see who did the thing. It was Joe. Joe did it. Yeah. Okay. I really enjoyed this episode. It was really fun. There was a lot of talking, and that's just a me thing. I don't like all that talking. All the segments were good. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of talking, but it was still a really good episode.
Yeah, I'd say it was a really fun episode. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of talking segments. Not as much wrestling this week because I feel like it was a bunch of setup, like a ton of setup. And AEW has those weeks where they just do a ton of setup, but usually the next week after that it is all hands.
Well, it's Beach Break, right? So, like, this is definitely like the I don't want to call it a go home show, but it feels like this was like a go home show for Beach Break, especially Collision, low key. Even with all the stuff that happened in Collision, almost everything was like set up for like Beach Break, Dynamite, and Collision. So
Yeah.
still really good.
Yeah. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over to you, Lionel, for this week's episode of Collision.
And a fun episode it was. We open the show with our AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm. I have the promo here, word for word.
Oh boy.
And I've been debating this whole time if I want to read it or not. I said I would, so I'm going to. Word for word.
All right, go for it.
All right. This is Timeless Toni Storm. She says, "So many men have taken a shot at me in here. It feels like I'm Abraham Lincoln." And then she says, "I will never forget my first time. It was messy. It was sweaty and painful. But I only wanted more. Once a month. Once a week. Twice a week. I was hooked. But then it only became more risky. 1 at a time. 2 at a time. 3 at a time. Incorporating random objects. All while being watched by a bunch of perverts. One day, it will not end well for me. It will break my body and soil my soul. But in the end, I know it was what I was born to do. And if you think I was referring to sexual intercourse, get your minds out of the gutter. Because the best bang is nothing compared to fighting for this, the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm not waiting for a hater or a CEO. So next week, line up your next batch of slap-tards because baby wants to binge. So spit on it, and sit on it, and let's get timeless." That is the promo. So everyone who gets upset about MJF and what he does and what he says, listen to Timeless Toni Storm. That was literally the promo. So please, save your bullshit.
Oh yeah, it's just bullshit.
Yeah. So basically, I did all that. This is setting up we talked about earlier, another world title eliminator match. We do find out that later in the day, we'll talk about it, that Sky Blue's returning and she's going to be in it. But then we're going to have 2, I guess we'll call them wild card spots for the sake of calling them wild card. So we don't know who they are, but we will find out. You have any thoughts on the promo?
It's a promo only Toni Storm can do. I'll just say that.
Honestly, yes. I felt crazy reading it. Anyway, next we go backstage and Lexi Nair's with Paragon, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. They are upset about losing the FTR, and they're talking about that they are one of the greatest tag teams on the planet, and they have to remember that. Also, Roddy was standing, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't hurt. Roddy was selling the shit out of that knee. Everyone thought he was hurt. He was fine. But we got an interruption. The grizzled young veterans show up for the first time in AEW in a little while. They've been doing their Ring of Honor thing. They've been working. But they show up, and they do what only the grizzled young vets can do. They started talking mad shit about Kyle and Roddy, saying that y'all ain't shit. You think you're a tag team? How about we fight and let's find out who the better tag team is. And then Kyle was like, okay, you know what? You'll be the first step on our road back. So eventually, I'm hoping Grand Slam Collision. We get Grizzly Young Veterans versus Paragon. You have any thoughts on that?
That'd be fun. I'm glad the Grizzled Young Vets are back on TV. For sure, but they did that thing that I always say. We were talking about it last segment with about Top Flight, what they need to do. GYV did it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hit that ROH, man.
So I'm hoping this, because this is going to be a good match. Grizzly Young Vets were already great to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So they only got better in Ring of Honor, and hopefully with this match, whenever it happens, they're going to be here to stay for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have our opening match of the night, which is Ricochet versus Angelico. So Penico was there too, by the way, but doesn't really matter. A couple of my favorite spots, because I'm not going to really talk about the entire match. Angelico had early control of Ricochet, and every time Ricochet tried to get up from the mat, Angelico would like flip him back down. It was kind of funny. He flipped him down a couple times. Then he picked him up. He got him in like a little standing octopus, and then started slapping the back of his head, because everyone slaps Ricochet's bald head now. That's just what everyone does. Everyone makes fun of Ricochet for being bald.
Boo. Haters.
There was a point later in the match also where Ricochet pushes Angelico into the ropes, and then uses his chest for a backflip, and then he hits a knee strike. Then Angelico also hits a knee strike. Very clean. Ricochet hits another knee strike on Angelico. And then I don't even know what you would call the move that Angelico did, but he picked him up in like rock bottom position. I don't even know what the position is called anymore, but picked him up rock bottom position, picked him up, and just slammed his face on the mat. Very interesting. I really like that move. I don't know what it's actually called, but it looked really cool.
Damn it! I was
like it was like a face buster.
Yeah, it was like it's like a face buster. Funny enough, I was playing Fight Forever last night, and that move. I saw that move. That move showed up. I don't know what the name of it is, but yeah, it's like a reverse Uranagi in a way.
Ooh, okay, you know what? I need to play Fight Forever again. I need another filler game for a little bit.
Ooh, I wouldn't play that one.
No,
Fight Forever isn't that good.
Well, whatever.
It has potential, but it needs time.
Okay. Well, were you gonna say something else?
No, that's it.
No, okay. Ricochet ends the match by hitting his new combo of the Vertigo and the Spirit Gun. Probably one of my favorite combos in AEW right now. After the match is when it gets really interesting, because there was someone that I have not spoken about yet. Ricochet grabs a mic. He's talking real bad about all the fans there, and then he sees Zack Gowen. Zack Gowen was shown on TV a couple times during the match and once before the match, so we all knew he was there. He got a name card and everything, a placard, a lower and everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know who Zack Gowen is, he has one leg and he is a wrestler. He I guess he's best known for getting the shit kicked out of him by Brock Lesnar, I guess.
Yep, in
WWE 20 years ago. Ricochet gets into Zack's face, and Ricochet starts talking shit. Immediately security comes. Ricochet immediately dispatches the security. He starts throwing them all around the arena. Zack Gowen says enough is enough. Zack Gowen gets into the ring and tries to fight off Ricochet a little bit. Or not fight off, he's like, calm down, bro. It's all good. Ricochet then kicked his leg out from under him. And remember, Zack Gowen only has one leg. So he kicked his only actual leg out. Zack Gowen falls, and it looked nasty. He's fine for sure because he's gonna wrestle. And then Ricochet, in the craziest thing I think I've seen in a while, takes Zack Gowen's leg and walks off with it. I was like, Ricochet, what the fuck? Like, he started like limping with the leg. He walked to the back with it. He did his backstage interview with the leg. Just a lot. Just a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this part early. This is going to lead us to Zack Gowen versus Ricochet at Beach Break Dynamite. They're going to wrestle in a couple days.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the match in the after?
Oh, no, the match was fun. The aftermath was great. The aftermath, Ricochet is playing up being a complete prick.
I mean, this is what we were talking about earlier. This was the second thing he did after the Javon Evans thing. This is what he got to work. And he got to do this. It was just hilarious. Like, I know it's not supposed to be funny, and I know I'm not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to be disgusted, because Tony Schiavone sounded disgusted. I was laughing my ass off, bro. That shit was funny.
No.
Next up, we had an 8-man tag. We had the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, and Lance Archer versus AR Fox, Bandito, and the Outrunners. And this is where I have to note. They keep on calling Rocky and Trent RPG Vice instead of Roppongi Vice, and it pisses me off. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a rights thing. It can't be, because I'm like, Okada's able to do his stuff. Everyone else is able to do their stuff from New Japan, so I'm not sure why this is a thing, but neither here nor there. I don't have a lot of notes on the match. Main thing is Don Callis family had control for the first little bit of it, but until Bandito got in the match. Once Bandito got in the match, it became a little bit more competitive. At the end, though, it was just AR Fox versus all 4 of them. Everyone else was gone. And AR Fox was trying. He was beating them up for a little bit, but 4v1 is going to get you eventually. And then Roppongi Vice wins with a Jackal Driver. Very cool looking move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the match. Prophet, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like, I enjoyed the in part, pretty much like the second half of the match, which was, it was all AR Fox, man.
Yeah.
Like, he was going in there and he was showing out, as he always does now. Like, I don't think I've seen a match lately where he hasn't been showing out. So, yeah, he got in and did that. And then I saw some people talking crap about the Jackal Driver. I'm like, I thought the Jackal Driver looked cool.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I'm not. I think it looked really cool. I think what makes it weird is like you would expect that move to be with 2 people that are like the same height, right? But Rocky and Trent make it work.
Yeah. Well, at the end, like, Lance Archer had his hand in the air. He's like, "Hey, he want to do a high five to Rocky Romero."
Rocky was like, "No, bring your hand down.
Bring it down."
I am a heel. I'm not jumping like I used to for like Hikuleo. We're not doing that.
But yeah, I thought the match was. I thought it was pretty fun, man.
It was fun. I liked it. And then after this match, we got the replay of Ricochet taking Zack Gowen's leg. I don't know why I did it right away. Tony Schiavone was still very mad about this, by the way. Which he should be. He is in the right. He should be very angry about that, because it's not a funny thing to do. But everyone laughed. Everyone. But right after that, we did also get a video package just retelling the story of Jon Moxley and Samoa Joe for the world title at Beach Break in the steel cage. Then we get a promo from Jon Moxley where basically Jon Moxley says, look, he knows he's going to get his ass kicked. He knows he's going to get beat up. But really, how long is Joe actually going to be able to beat me up? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Whatever you do, I can take it, because I've taken a lot worse. So you can do your best, but you are not going to be able to beat me. Basically, this was Jon Moxley hyping up the match on Wednesday. And again, he has changed his promo style to go back to how it used to be. There's no more like riddles and stuff like that. He's being very, very open, transparent. He was even saying that the Joe's going to beat his ass for however long he's going to do it. But that's really it. Anything on this one?
Oh, no. I thought it was good.
Yeah, pretty much. Next up, we had Anthony Bowens versus Lee Johnson. This match was a little short.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's going to be how this is going to be for a little bit. Bowens is definitely building himself up right now. I'm not going to talk about the entire match. I'm just going to talk about the end of it. Blake Christian distracted Anthony Bowens, only for Lee Johnson to try to get a roll-up, but the roll-up hit a 2. Only able to get a 2. But Bowens like sprung up immediately, spun around and hit the mollywop, that forearm, for the win. Afterwards, Blake Christian tried to get up and attack Anthony Bowens, but of course, everyone is afraid. Everyone apparently has to be afraid of Billy Gunn. So Billy Gunn threw him out of the ring, and then Anthony Bowens did his usual thing where he talks about what the 5 tools are. He said it a lot. I forgot what they are now. 2 of them I don't really like the it factor and the look. Okay, like whatever. And then we got to have a little scissor party, because that's not dead. He's still doing it. They had a little scissor party in Detroit, and they had a good time. But that's really it. Anything?
No, not really. I think there's a reason why. So I know he calls himself a 5-tool player.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 things for most people is a lot.
It's like speed, power, intelligence, the look, and the it factor. I think something like that.
Right. Whereas I'm thinking back to like what Kurt Angle. He had the 3 eyes: intensity, integrity, intelligence. That's super easy to remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but he's gonna have to keep saying the 5 tools for a while until people get it. Is where I'm getting at.
Yeah. It's a lot, right? Like he's gonna keep on doing it, which means we're probably gonna be getting a lot of these like little matches from him, and I'm gonna be honest. And I know that this is what wrestling's supposed to do, right? So I'm not trying to make a knock on that. He is already at the point, he is already so good, and he's been so good for a while, that it would be nice to see him face like competition.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's really it. We'll talk more about the 5 tools once we see him again, eventually. We'll probably see him again next week or whatever. Right after this, we had probably one of my favorite segments of the night. The Gates of Agony are coming out with a nice little pop. Little babyface pop. I see y'all, Gates of Agony. Yeah. Gates of Agony get in the ring. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no. I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, Gates of Agony get in the ring. They both have microphones. And they basically just call out Big Bill and Brian Keith. They're not looking for a match. They're looking for a fight. They want to continue what they did last week. And continue what exactly they did. Big Bill and Brian Keith come out. Still to the Learning Tree music. Which I think not only scared me, but it scared a lot of people also. I was like, no! He wasn't there, though. I feel like if I say his name, he's going to pop up next week, so I don't want to say it. He was not there, though. Big Bill, Brian Keith come out, and the fight immediately starts. And let me tell you, this fight does not last long.
No.
They were beating the hell out of each other for like 3 minutes. Because of how AEW is set up, this week they had like they're on another stage, right? They're in like a concert venue. So not both, everyone goes through tables on both sides of the stage. Toa Leona looked like really bad because Toa looked like he hit his head on the ground from the spear that he did to Big Bill. Hopefully he's okay. I haven't heard anything crazy, but yeah, they fought, and this means we're gonna get that match soon. I'm hoping this is also one we get like tag team at Beach Break Collision. That would be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anything on this one?
No, I like the, you know me, I like the Gates of Agony is on TV. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's great.
And they got a really good feud going on too.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Like, this is all you gotta do. Couple weeks, have them fight. Perfect. Next up, we had a promo package for Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Just like Prophet, I'm not gonna repeat what they were saying. It was a lot of fat asses and stop hiding behind her fat ass and a lot of stuff. Still very funny. Everything we said on the Dynamite review still tracks for this. Great. But then we find out that we're going to be getting Anna Jay versus Megan Bayne at Beach Break Collision. Should be a really good one. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have the AEW match of the week because we have Kris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. They set it up the night before and we're already getting it. Before the match, Stat was already out there and they did like a little video package of the feud between Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. And it was on the screen. You can tell it's on the screen. If you go to a wrestling show, like whatever they show on TV is going to be on the screen for everyone to see. And we cut back to Stat, and Stat's like, ooh, I was not doing good things over there. That was kind of funny to see. So for the match, I took a lot more notes than I thought I did. So I'm not going to talk about all of these, but I'm going to kind of go through them a little bit. Some of my favorite moments of the match early on was Willow and Stat kind of pissing each other off. Very early, Willow outpowers Stat. And then decides to do the boop, which if you don't know, if you're a new fan, Kris Statlander used to be an alien. So she used to poke the nose of everybody. That's the boop. She used to like poke everyone's nose that she liked. Kris Statlander is not an alien anymore. I'm not really sure why that kind of dropped, but it did. And then that pissed Stat off. Stat slaps Willow. And then Stat also mocks Willow by doing like a crossbody pin and doing like the little Willow pose, the smile pose. And that pisses off Willow off, and Willow smacks Stat. And this is when the match really starts going crazy. At one point, Willow hits the pounce and the cannonball senton to Stat on the outside. Stat was able to get a couple suplexes on the ground also. There was one point where they started trading forearms and then traded a German suplex and double clothesline to knock each other out. Also a really good thing. Stat hit an axe kick. I don't know if Stat's been doing this before. I don't think I've seen it before from her. I think she's pretty sure she has. But
yep, she has.
Fantastic, because I just like the axe kick. Stat hits a superplex from the top rope onto Willow, but Willow's able to get up pretty quickly after that and hit a lariat and then a gut wrench powerbomb. And it looked like Willow just kind of powered up Stat for the last half of it. So it was a fantastic match. The crowd was going crazy for it, as expected, because these are two of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. Well, I shouldn't say that. These are two of the best wrestlers on the planet. That's the better. There we go. But we have to remember that all good things must come to an end, and most good things in life get ruined. Because Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir come out. Wheeler Yuta distracts the ref. Marina Shafir uses like something to choke out Willow. And Willow was out. Statlander does not see this happen. Once she's out, once Willow is out, Statlander gets in, hits Saturday Night Fever for the 1-2-3. But Stat did not see what happened with Marina Shafir, which is annoying, but Statlander gets the win. Prophet, any thoughts on this match?
The match was a great match up until the end. Of course, it was going to deflate the end part, but up until that point, man, it was. I need like a part 3, part 4, part 5. I need them to go at it again. Or when that new tag league comes out, I need them to team up and take them tag team titles.
It would be great, right? Because not to bring that up, that's a good point. We have there's a lot of tag team setups. This is one of them. So y'all go ahead, just do them titles. Go ahead. We'll wait till All In. That's fine. But go ahead and announce them. We're good. It's time. Right after the match, we get a Sky Blue return package. This is what I was talking about earlier. She is going to be back in Chicago at Beach Break. And like I said before, she's going to be in the 4-way for the AEW Women's World Championship Eliminator. Again, 2 people still unknown. And after this, we get a replay between what happened with Hangman and Ospreay. And this is when we get the announcement that we're going to get Hangman and Ospreay versus Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita on Wednesday. So it should be another really good one. But of course, we know because they were just announced, they got to wrestle. So we get Konosuke Takeshita versus Josh Alexander. Or not versus, Jesus Christ. I'm completely forgetting the Dark Order. That's sad. Just like AEW did.
Oof.
Takeshita and Alexander versus Evil Uno and Alex Reynolds. I don't even want to give them credit, apparently, at all.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
It was a very quick match, as expected. Dark Order didn't even get like an intro, like nothing. They didn't even get nothing. They got beat up pretty quickly. They tried. There was a little bit of offense from them, but realistically, this was all Don Callis family. That's really it. Prophet, do you have any thoughts on that?
I saw a lot of people angry about it, but I'm like, well, if they're going against who they're going against, sorry. You're going against Takeshita and Josh Alexander.
Should I be mean?
Go ahead, be mean.
I'm going to have to be mean.
Do it.
I hate to say this. I know everyone has a very big connection to the Dark Order. I do too. One of my favorite stories in AEW is still the Dark Order picking up Hangman from the ashes, from nothing, to becoming world champion. And we didn't talk about it, but Ospreay kind of mixed it up. Like Ospreay was like, oh yeah, you brought them up to superstardom. No, that's not what happened at all. He was down in the dumps, and the Dark Order took him in. They all came up together. That's kind of how that happened. It was also year 1 AEW. And let me tell you, as someone who watched it weekly from All Out, I'm here to tell you that a lot of the acts in year 1 of AEW would not work in AEW today.
No.
And I know that hurts to hear, because I know y'all like Dark Order. I know a lot of y'all like a lot of us like Private Party. A lot of us like a lot of those tag teams from the beginning. Like you think Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus would have fit in right now as they were? No, they wouldn't have. That's why Jack Perry and Luchasaurus both changed the way they did, right? Like I said, I know it sucks to hear, but AEW has moved on from year 1. And it just, things like the Dark Order, as much as we love the tribute to Brody Lee, and that's a moment in history, they just are not in a place where they work at AEW right now. We're doing great in Ring of Honor when they're there, but it's just not, we're not there anymore. We're just not. I'm sorry to have to say it like that, but this isn't year 1 AEW anymore.
No.
And like I said, I know a lot of y'all are fans of Dark Order, but yeah, you kind of have to, you don't have to let those acts go. 'Cause I'm not saying that, because they will wrestle, they will be around, but you can't expect a Dark Order, a Private Party. I don't even know what other acts are even in AEW anymore from year 1. Not many.
Not many, no.
Like they're not. It's just not the same. And that's it. No, you have any thoughts on that at all before we move on?
No, it's just they are where they're going to be. Like That's as much as I can say about that. They are where they're going to be.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. They are where they're gonna be. That's it. Next up, we got a replay of MJF and the Hurt Syndicate stuff, and this is when they announced that again that Bobby's gonna give his answer to MJF next week on Beach Break Dynamite. Next up, we had Speedball Mike Bailey versus Jalisco #2. But this one I feel like was a little bit more back and forth than their first match was. Also a little bit more competitive. The first one was also a very good match. I'm not trying to say that first one was bad, but this one was just up a notch on another level. And also felt like Jalisco was doing more in this match too, which was fun. I want to talk about the entire ending sequence because it's a lot. From the point where they started trading pinfalls. Speedball tried to kick Jalisco's head off while Jalisco was on the ground. Jalisco dodged it. Then Speedball tried to hit a standing Shujisar. Jalisco dodged again, but Speedball landed on his feet. Then Speedball also tried to do a low trip. Jalisco jumped over it and then hit a crucifix bomb on Speedball. It looked nasty too. Like it was a nasty one.
Yeah, it was a nasty one.
So good. Driscoll's gonna do something. Like he grabbed Speedball's hands while he was on the ground. And I guess he was trying to jump on him, but Speedball caught him and was able to like flip that into a destroyer. Then Speedball tried to do that that spinning kick. I don't remember what it's called. There is a name for it, but I forget what it's called. But he was stopped by an enziguri from Jalisco. But then they move out to the apron, and Speedball's able to hit the shooting star knee press on Jalisco, then brings him into the ring and hits him with that spinning kick for the win. That was like the last minute of the match. The whole match was crazy, by the way. Very fantastic match. Right after this, we get Roosh. Roosh is coming out and he's looking at Speedball. So while Kevin Knight's gone, Speedball has to deal with Roosh by himself, which is not good for Speedball.
Yeah, that's not great for Speedball.
No. You have any thoughts on this match?
I thought that match was fun, man. Like, I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, the Speedball is fitting right in to AEW.
It feels like these are the signings that AEW needs to prioritize, right? Like Kevin Knight, Speedball Mike Bailey, Megan Bain. Like those are the ones that you Thekla. Those are the people that you sign.
Yeah, people that want to be there.
Yes.
Right? You know the negatives that we got with the CM Punks, the Alistair, Malachi Blacks, the Miros, and guys like that. We don't need that anymore.
No, it's a good thing that they're getting away from that because they know now also they don't need those kind of people. If people can go wherever they want. That's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. It's just you definitely want people that want to be in your company. You don't want people as a stepping stone.
Right.
Next up, we found out that we're gonna have a tribute to Steve Mongo McMichael on Beach Break Collision. And it was also announced that Ric Flair is going to be there for it. People freaked out online. Ric Flair is not looked at very highly in internet wrestling fans' eyes. And I get it. I don't like him either. But I got to be honest. It's just a tribute. He will be gone in however long it's going to take for Ric Flair to talk. And it will be over. Just don't worry about it. This isn't going to be him doing a storyline. It's just a tribute.
Yeah, because he was in, Steve McMichael's in the Four Horsemen.
You can't do it without Ric Flair. I mean, there could be other horsemen there, but I think all of the rest of them are in WWE, so they're not going to be there.
Yeah, well, the only other one that could be there is if you're going with the ones that were in WCW at the time, it was Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, Arn Anderson, and I forgot what the last one was. Steve McMichael.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the guy they're doing the tribute to. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I get it. I get internet fans just you're gonna have to let it go for a few minutes. I trust AEW not to make this like a storyline with Ric Flair. I feel like AEW knows that AEW fans don't want him there, despite the fact that what's gonna happen in the arena. Because in the arena, people are gonna be wooing and doing all that stuff. So internet fans, I just want you to be ready because that's how this always works. Every time. Next up, we get our main event. Daniel Garcia versus a member of FTR. We find out that it's Zack. And here's the thing about this. I'm actually not going to talk about the match. I want to talk about the end of it. Because that was, to me, the most interesting part about this entire thing. Around the end of the match, Dax and Daniel Garcia are fighting in the crowd. They had a hard-hitting match, by the way. Like, they fought like they hated each other. Like, Daniel Garcia was, like, snotting everywhere. And it was, nasty. But they get up to where the commentary is, because commentary isn't like right by the ring this time. They're up a little bit more. Dax knocks out Garcia for a minute. Then he turns to Nigel McGuinness, and he knocks the headset off of Nigel McGuinness. And Nigel stands up, looks like he's about to hit him. Tony Schiavone's like, please don't do this. Just remember what you told me. You're a commentator. Sit down. Nigel McGuinness, being the bigger man, surprisingly, said, you're a wrestler. I'm retired. I'm not going to do this. So where Dax proceeded to push him down into his seat. And at this point, Dax and Garcia go back to the ring, but no one is looking at the ring anymore at this point. Everyone's looking back at Nigel McGuinness, because even on the camera shot, you can see him standing up, and he is visibly upset. Visibly. Tony Schiavone's like, please don't go over there. Don't do it. The crowd's chanting for Nigel. Tony's saying, don't do it. Nigel says, bump it. And he decides to go down to the ring to have one of the biggest pops of the night, by the way. He gets into the ring and takes care of FTR by himself. Both of them. The match gets thrown out because, of course, it's disqualification. Daddy Magic comes in and takes Cash out of the ring. And then we have the I don't even know the three members. We have Nigel McGuinness, Danny Garcia, and Matt Menard all standing together, strong in the middle of the ring, while all of FTR is on the ground very upset. And this is how we end Collision. Prophet, your thoughts on the main events and Collision as a whole?
The main event was... So the match was gritty, man. It was, they were fighting. It was a dog fight. That's what that match was.
Yeah, it was.
And what happened at the end, we asked for Nigel, if you listen to the podcast for a while, whenever Nigel McGuinness gets in the ring, we always ask if we could get more Nigel McGuinness in the ring. Might just be getting him in another match. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait. And, this episode of Collision, I enjoyed it. Solid wrestling. Well, shit. Yeah, one of the best women's matches on TV. Oh, actually, one of the best wrestling matches on TV that night, which was Willow and Kris Stat.
Mm-hmm.
And you followed it up with, a bunch of other great stuff. Yeah, Collision was great. It was super fun.
It was a really good show. And Nigel is the only person that has been in retirement for like 11 years and can come into a match and be slow for like a second, like maybe a minute, and then catch right back up.
Yeah.
One of the best wrestlers on the planet. So I'm guessing the match is going to be FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia, which, I'll take it. Should be really good.
No.
That's it. That is our episode. So we have to do what we always do.
Mm-hmm.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the entire podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the entire podcast. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Talk to us in there. Probably going to do more of that when he gets to the YouTube part. Main thing is, if you want to talk to us more outside of YouTube, make sure you follow all of us on Blue Sky. You can follow the entire podcast channel at TAGPW Podcast. You can follow Prophet at Prophet on Blue Sky, PROFFITT. And you can follow me at Shikoku. I don't spell my own. Whatever. Don't worry about it. Find us there. Talk to us. Interact. We talk a lot about wrestling. We talk a lot of things on there. So make sure you're following all of us, and you'll be able to get into the conversation there. And if you're not able to listen to us on YouTube, if you're already on the go, please make sure that you're listening to the podcast on Spotify. Spotify is your one-stop shop for this podcast, and I believe our gaming podcast, which again, probably going to talk about a little bit more once we get to the next section. So if you can't watch us on YouTube, if you're like one of the few people who cannot do that, make sure that you hop on Spotify. You can find us. If look up TAGPW Podcast, you'll be able to find us pretty easily. Eventually, we can have all of our podcasts up there. But for now, this podcast is up there. So make sure, give it a listen, 5 stars, give it a review, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Prophet, tell them about the YouTube.
All right, guys. Well, this is probably the place you're listening to it, the YouTube. So with that, thank you. Also, don't be afraid to tap that like button. We for sure like that. And, it lets people know that, people like yourselves like great AEW podcasts like this one. Don't go to these other podcasts that fake being AEW podcasts. Come to this actual AEW podcast right here. Again, thank you for that. And also, subscribe, hit that bell button so you get all of our content whenever it comes out. as you know, as Lionel was saying earlier, you know, I'm going to give you guys the rundown. You don't get one, you get 3 podcasts. You get this podcast, which is us talking about AEW, wrestling around the world, giving the news and things like that. Mainly AEW. Let's just put it right there. This is mainly an AEW podcast. We have the Command Grab, which we talk about video games and all things gaming in general. And then our final one is the OVA, which we talk about all the animes that we've watched during the week and you know, during the season. So with all that beautiful combination, tap all them buttons, do all the things, and comment, because I know we pressed some buttons there when we said some things. Talk about the Top Flight thing. Where do you guys think they should go? Let's talk about, you know, the Willow stat match. What do you guys think? Do you think the ending should have been different? What do you guys think? So there's a bunch of subjects out there. Let's talk about it in the comments. So once again, thank you, and we gotta go. We're out.
Peace.